Texas beating Vandy 34-31 here in Austin at DKR. Very hyped matchup. Diego Pavia on the road, Heisman candidate. Vandy came in 7-1. Obviously, big win over LSU for them. They've had other big wins this season. Their only loss was to Alabama on the road. And right away, Texas knocked him out. It was a first-round knockout, 10-0 in the blink of an eye, 17-0 quickly in the first quarter, 24-3, 34-10. It was never close until the end in garbage time. An all-time bad beat, by the way, as Texas was a 3.5-point favorite, and they were the better team by 20 points, and then they give up some garbage time scores and only win by 3. And by the way, Vandy almost got that onside kick, which is pretty wild. Texas moved the ball very well on offense. Thought that was the best protection Arch Manning has had all season. Steve Sarkisian said that in his post-game press conference. When Arch Manning has time, like he did in this game, he's maybe the best quarterback in the sport, certainly one of them. I mean, his natural rhythm as a passer, especially with weapons that are still developing that aren't like tailor-made NFL guys yet, is pretty incredible. The layered throws, the deep balls. He obviously did get the nice fortune of throwing Ryan Wingo a screen pass that went 75 yards for a touchdown. We'll do the final lines here. Arch, fresh off a concussion. Apparently he was cleared by Thursday, according to Sark. The report came out late Friday that he would play. But 25-33, 328, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Texas, again, did not rush the ball very well. Trey Wisner, 18 carries, 75 yards. C.J. Baxter, 7 carries, 22 yards. Vandy's final lines, Diego Pavia, 27 of 38, 365, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He also had a rushing touchdown. If you looked at this on paper, you would just say, like, damn, Diego Pavia was unbelievable. And he... First of all, I love Diego Pavia. It's awesome watching him. Love his story. Know all about it. The no offers, the JUCO route, the New Mexico State route. Him and Jerry Kill coming over to Nashville. Great hire by Clark Lee there. Like they're doing such a good job. Vandy is a real team, a real program. Clearly very well coached. Diego Pavia is definitely their alpha. You could tell they were a little undersized in this game and a little underskilled in this game, but I thought Eli Stowers, let's see what he finished with. Yeah, 7 grabs for 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. A lot of people think he's the best tight end in the sport. I would put Oregon's Kenyon Sadiq up there. I was thinking about it. Who's the best tight end in college football? Like who's winning the Mackey? You hear a lot of guys, Jake Butt, former Mackey winner on the Big Ten Network, say Kenyon Sadiq should win the Mackey. Oregon's not using him much this year, so I kind of wonder stats-wise where he'll be. I'm pretty sure Stowers, I haven't done a deep dive beyond him, but I'm pretty sure he's going to finish with the best stats out of any tight end in college football because he gets the ball a lot. Georgia has not 1, not 2, but 3 dudes who are insane athletes. Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky, and this other guy, Elias Williams. He's a freshman, number 10. If you watch Georgia, number 10, he's 6'5", 255, but he carries it like LeBron. Like he's like the David. He's freaking chiseled. So keep your eye out on that guy. He was blocking the other day. The Georgia-Florida game, those tight ends are great blocking tight ends too. Like Georgia's tight end room is just, feels like it's nasty every year. Obviously they had Brock Bowers recently, but Georgia's tight end room is just nasty. It's insane. If Stockton did not play very well in that game, if he had played a little better, those tight ends could have scored a lot more in that Florida game. Okay, back to Vandy, Texas. I guess just first impression, let me make sure I'm all cameraed up here. Okay, sweet. Just first impression in general is that Texas is a legitimate college football playoff team. Now, they're 7-2. They have 1 loss to Ohio State on the road by a touchdown where Ohio State scored on a 4th and goal. If Ohio State is the number 1 team like everyone says they are and Texas barely lost on the road, that's a really, really good loss. Obviously, their other loss is at Florida back when they had a coach. Really weird game. Dallas Wilson just dominated the game at the receiver spot, and that is, to me, the weakness of the Texas team is their secondary, now that their offensive line is improving a little bit. The matchup in this game that I was kind of fascinated with was what I thought would be Texas's strength versus Vandy's strength, which is Diego Pavia and the shovel pass game and the scramble around game, kind of a short field game on offense for Vandy against the front seven of the Texas defense, because in my opinion, the front seven of the Texas defense is the strength of the team along with Arch. And oh my God, Texas murdered them in the front seven. Vandy finishes with 2.4 yards per carry. That's generous. Diego Pavia had one. He had a long touchdown run. If you take that touchdown run away, which was again in garbage time, and credit to them, but it was a garbage time, maybe 20, 30-yard touchdown run. They basically had like 20 rushing yards in this game. So Texas was completely dominant up front, and I think that's what separates them from a lot of teams, is that Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill and Ethan Burke and just all those dudes up front are different. Simmons and Hill are certainly going to be first-round draft picks based on any mock draft you look at. The play where Simmons gets in the backfield early on, this is Vandy's first possession of the game, grabs Diego, strips him, and throws him to the ground and recovers the ball. That was, not to be dramatic, that was one of the closer things I've seen to the Jadeveon Clowney on Michigan play since that moment in the Outback Bowl, I think. Mike Tirico on the call, South Carolina, Michigan back in the day. He grabbed him, stripped him, slammed him on the ground, and grabbed the ball with one hand. It was an insane play. And that's just the Texas front seven, man. So their front seven was great. They got 6 sacks in this game. Vandy had only given up 7 all season, so obviously an elite game there. They do absolutely need to shore up their secondary, though. The Texas secondary, again, no Michael Taft in this game. Walk-on turned All-American safety, incredible player. He is a team captain and just an insanely intelligent player on the field, basically the quarterback of the defense, or at least the back end of the defense. He was on the sideline, also wears number 16 with the jersey on. I was looking, I was like, okay. Another white guy with number 16. Who is that? Oh, that's right. That's Taff. All right, that's not Arch. Thank God that's not Arch for Texas fans, because it could have been a long day without Arch in this game. But anyways, so Taff was on the sideline in his jersey, but no pads or anything like that, just the jersey and shorts look. Had thumb surgery on October 20th, and they said he wasn't cleared for this game. I kind of get the feeling you probably could have just thrown a cast on it if they really wanted him. I think they felt like they could have won without him, which they certainly need him. But he will be back against Georgia for sure. They all have a bye this upcoming week, and then they are at Georgia. I'll get to the Texas college football playoff conversation in a second, which I think is a fascinating one. But just to kind of continue rehashing the game, that is where Texas needs a lot of help. Their secondary, I love Malik Muhammad, number 5, great cover corner, almost had a pick in this game. He's great. The rest of the secondary, especially just the back end of it, busted coverage after busted coverage. And that was kind of what surprised me about this game. I get that Vandy's bread and butter is the shovel pass game and the short run and the Diego Pavia kind of crafty run around 5, 7, 10-yard passes, and then Pavia obviously on the run and give him option plays and stuff like that. I get it. That's totally the strength of the team along with Stowers, but the front seven mismatch was just dominant in the way of Texas, but the secondary versus receivers mismatch was dominant in the way of Vandy. So I thought they should have thrown the ball a lot earlier in the game. They didn't really try to stretch the field a ton. Texas did a pretty good job of taking Stowers away early, but they didn't really try to stretch the field a ton, which really surprised me. I thought that Clark Lee's probably regretting that a little bit. And again, the Texas front seven was so dominant that Pavia didn't have a ton of time early on in the game. And that was another kind of glaring part about the game, is that Arch actually had a lot of time in this game. Against Kentucky, didn't have a lot of time. Against Mississippi State, was taking hit after hit. Obviously, against Oklahoma, taking big hits. Against Ohio State, taking big hits. That entire first month of the season, the offensive line was a total mess. They still whiffed on a lot of blocks in this game. I was watching the guards on screen plays, on toss plays, on run plays. The guards are just not very good. But he was protected pretty well in the pocket, and when he has time to throw, he's as lethal as anyone in the sport in terms of throwing the ball just efficiently. Parker Livingston on the outside, layering throws to the tight end, hitting Wingo with a deep ball. The Emmett Mosley ball, I think Mosley It was in the right corner of the end zone. That would have put him up 42-16 or something like that in the fourth quarter. Mosley did, I think he dropped it, but I think he also had partial possession of it. They ruled it a touchdown initially. Cannons are going off. Everyone's going crazy. And it would have been 40-16 or 42-16 Texas at that point. But I think he did drop it. It hits the ground kind of as he's corralling it, and they overturn it. That certainly pissed off the Texas fans. Also, the other play that pissed them off was Vandy converting a 2-point conversion by stretching the ball near the pylon. It never hit the pylon and never went over the pylon, and they still gave them the 2-point conversion. That didn't make a lot of sense either. And Sark, like some of Sark's postgame was spent on those calls that they're certainly going to send into the SEC League office and try to get answered. But fun game at DKR, man. I think Texas just looks really good. It was another validating win for Arch. Like at this point, there's nothing anyone can really say other than he's a great quarterback who's continuing to develop. And if he has time, he's as good as anyone in the sport in terms of being a pure passer. I think the skill group is coming along. Parker Livingston's pretty good. He's obviously Arch's roommate and one of his favorite targets. Wingo's their deep threat. Endry's the tight end for Cal. He's not that fast, but he does get open. I still think Texas is missing a little bit of speed. DeAndre Moore had a pretty big game. He's kind of a slot guy who's been on the team the last couple of years, so Arch has good rapport with him. I think they're missing, and Wingo is kind of their home run threat. It feels like they're missing. I mean, it's tough to compare anyone to Xavier Worthy or even Bond or Golden. Those guys were all so good. It doesn't feel like the skill room is really up to par compared to those guys. But again, that's, those are a couple of first-round picks right there, so it's tough to compare that. I think Texas is a playoff team for sure. I think they absolutely need to get better running the ball. There's not a ton of balance to the team yet, and they absolutely need to get better in the secondary. Again, Michael Taft being out is massive. When he was in against Oklahoma, they held John Mateer to 2 field goals, right? By the way, the Oklahoma game was hilarious. Oklahoma scored 19 points on defense and special teams in that game. An R. Mason Thomas strip sack to the house, like 75 yards, and then 4 field goals from your man Tate Sandell. Short shorts, chubbies. We're gonna get to Oklahoma in a little bit, but he had chubbies on, and he was hitting from 55 and talking shit at Neyland. That was hilarious. We will run through that for sure. So can Texas make the college football playoff? Let's dive into that for a second. They are 9-3. I'll pull up their schedule, but they have a bye, then at Georgia, home against Arkansas, and home against A&M. Can Texas make the college football playoff? 9-3, bye week, at Georgia, going to be a very tough game. Home against Arkansas, not going to be that tough of a game, although their offense can hang with Bob Petrino. And then home against A&M. A&M looks like a really good team. I think they are a really good team. Are they getting a little overblown because of a wildly easy SEC schedule? I actually do think so, but they're still a really good team. Mike Elko's a really good coach. Marcel Reed is a handful to deal with. And that win at LSU, yes, LSU is toxic. Yes, they just fired their coach, but you can stamp it. Like at nighttime at Death Valley, to win that game with 35 unanswered points in the second half, like you're clearly a very good team. Like whether you're going to win the Natty or not, obviously who knows? It's a tough / impossible standard to just compare. But the fact that A&M's even in the national title conversation, I think shows you how good they are and how improved they are. If Texas wins at Georgia or against A&M, if they win 2 of their last 3, I think you have to put them in the college football playoff. That would be a 9-3 final record with 3 top 10 wins. Oklahoma was number 6 at the time. Vandy was number 9 at the time. And then that would either be Georgia or A&M, which would be a top 5 win as of now. So 3 top 10 wins and a 9-3 finish with momentum. I think that's a college football playoff team. Now, it's so wild because you think about like Indiana. I would have them number 1 in the country right now. I would have Indiana number 1 in the country. To me, they have one of the best wins, which is a double-digit win at Autzen Stadium where their defense held Oregon to 13 points on offense. Remember, Oregon had a pick 6 in that game. I think it was Aaron Flowers who had the pick six off Mendoza. But we have no idea how good Indiana actually is compared to a team that has to play a grueling SEC schedule. They have no one else to play. I mean, they're not going to play Ohio State. It's kind of like A&M, where they're not really playing a ton of teams other than Texas at the end of the season. And then, LSU is good. And we always do this thing, right, where it's like it gets to November and it's like, is that team really that good? They lost to this team. Is that team really that good? They lost to this team. And, it's kind of an exhausting conversation. I think you have to think about it bigger picture, like, hey, it's college football, it's modern college football, the talent is a lot more even. Like a 9-3 SEC team with 3 top 10 wins, that would be Texas on the resume. That's very good. Like, that is a very good team that not a lot of people would want to play. I do think if you just say, hey, is Texas a national title contender? I do think their secondary and their offensive line holds them back from being a true national title contender. Obviously, Arch is incredible. Obviously, their front seven's incredible. I don't know if their secondary and certainly their offensive line is good enough. Again, Michael Taff will come back. That'll help a lot in the Georgia game.